Campbell, I've got to start with you. We had a huge response to the debate we had last week exposing parliamentary moves by Anastasia Palaszczuk, which were successful to bring down the wall on the Paradise Dam. Now, it's the last big dam built in Australia. I can't understand for the life of me, in a state like your state of Queensland, where you have so much water in some places and then so much drought or dry land in others, why on earth you would spend good money to bring down a dam wall, make a big dam small, but they're doing that, and it's before the government's own expert panel even reports.
Look, the whole Paradise thing, dam thing, is really turning into a debacle. I mean, there is a massive food agricultural bowl that has absolutely needed this water. The dam was finally built after years of lobbying, and now they're having the legs cut from underneath them. And the big issue here, in my view, Peter, apart from what you just described in the Parliament, is the government isn't talking about the future. I mean, you know, Anthony Lynham, the Minister for not building dams here in Queensland, needs to step up to the plate for once and actually have a vision to actually fix this thing or rebuild it. I mean, I'm not going to technically talk about what should happen, but there needs to be a plan for the future, not to just sort of go the total risk management approach and not have that future plan.
Yeah, and I forget you're a former engineer, Campbell, so I'm sure you could tell us actually exactly what's needed. I mean, this is the problem, isn't it, Nick? Here you've got a whole community around Bundaberg, farmers that have invested a lot of money growing their macadamia trees that'll get to a certain point only when they start bearing fruit, avocados, etc. A lot of jobs in a regional area. We want to export to the food bowl of Asia. Why on earth would we make a big dam small?
I'm not an expert in engineering like Campbell is, but my understanding is that there were safety issues with this dam, and for community safety concerns meant that there was a need to bring down that
but why not
spill
fix
wall.
it properly? Because there was a quote of 700 million or thereabouts to return it to full capacity, and there was about 150 million to reduce the wall. They've just gone with a cheap option because there's no money in the budget. Why would they do it properly?
It's a very good question, Peta Credlin. Obviously, there is a community there that depends on it. Are there environmental flow issues in this area? Are there ecological issues why it's not sustainable going forward to have the dam of that size?
Yeah, it's crazy. Campbell, it is just crazy. I want to go on to some other issues because there's been a lot of infighting in the National Party. I have to ask you, you know, Queensland Nat as you are, a lot of the trouble emanates from inside the Barnaby rump, if I can call it that, and Matt Canavan's been dragged into it as well. Where is this going to end? Do you think we'll see the leader survive, or will the leader have to go in order to unite the team?
Well, look, it's been an unedifying spectacle, and I think the first hint of it we got was about a week and a half ago on a Sunday night when I was on this network, and I said then that I hoped that people would just calm down, stop thinking about themselves, and actually realise that politics, as you well know, Peter, it is a team sport. And there are times in politics you don't get what you want and you don't get the prize or the ministerial leather, but you have to suck it up. You've got to take one for the team, because that's how you actually get in government and stay in government. And the thing that pains me is I've got respect for a number of these people. I know them personally, and I just wish they wouldn't compromise the government in this way, because that's what they're doing. They're compromising the government. They're ultimately compromising the ability to get things done for their communities, and they might even hurt themselves. Look, Australians are sick of this nonsense. Yes, they want outcomes. Yes, we want good, strong advocates from the bush, and Canavan's one of those who I admire, but frankly, this is really starting to hurt, and they've got to find a way through it.
Yeah, look, it's incredibly indulgent, and I'm also very surprised that McCormack, when he got over the line and was returned, wasn't a bit more magnanimous. He's just ensured that the bloodletting is going to continue. But I want to move on to something else, because, Nick, I want to ask you about real concerns today from economists that there will not be a surplus because of coronavirus, all of this wild weather and floods, and, of course, the bushfires. How real is that?
Oh, I think it's a very serious concern. I mean, coronavirus will take about 0.5% off economic growth. Drought's done something similar. Bushfires in a similar sort of magnitude. You put that all together, and that is a huge shock to the budget. But you'll have to excuse me from making a political point here, but of course I spent years in that parliament while the coalition, Tony Abbott and others, pilloried Wayne Swan and Labor for promising a surplus and then never delivering on it. And here we are, 7 years, or coming up 7 years, of a coalition government. They've promised a surplus and it's still yet to materialise. In fact, last year they went so far as to have T-shirts and mugs printed saying "back in the black," and they talked about the surplus as if they'd already delivered it. In fact, they hadn't, and it looks like they're unlikely to. I mean, it's kind of pot calling kettle black, I would have thought.
Yes, well, I suspect whatever it takes, Josh Frydenberg will try very hard to deliver that surplus. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to take any lessons from Labor on fiscal management, but you'd expect me to say that, Nick. Anyway, got to leave it there. Campbell Newman, Nick Reece, thanks very much for your time.